Hi, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing today? Welcome to Victory Speaks. Good evening. And I'm going to set up. I'm waiting for you to come in to the room. I hope you are having a good day. And if you're not having a good day, after this, I believe you will have a good day. It's time for us to have an inspired conversation. Right now, you're hearing in the background, Calabash, led by Tony Pierre. You're hearing Darren Shepherd on the steel drums. There's quite an interesting slew of musicians that are on this. I'm going to share this to my Facebook page. Then I'm going to introduce my guest tonight. It's a mellow Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day. And my guest today, man, we're talking about the F word. Yep, it's the F word we're talking about. Are you ready to talk about the F word? I'm just saying. You're like, what is Nicole talking about? Yep, talking about the F word, people. Okay. All right, let me stop having so much fun, blowing your minds. So as you get comfy, get a nice drink, get your snacks, get a notepad, because you never know. Wisdom keys tend to come out at any time. They can be dropped. Invite your friends, invite your family, you know. If you're thinking about the F word today, might be a great day to tune in. You know, we're in the third week in January. Can you believe it? 2021, 3 weeks in. Wow. So welcome to the Victory Speaks Inspired Conversation series, where iron sharpens iron. And I hope I'm one of your iron sharpeners by now. And if not, bring me on board. Who is your iron sharpener? Who's sharpening you in your life? I'm your host, Nicole Waldron, and your voice of victory and mental fitness coach. And I'm on a mission to inspire you to live a life that is victorious, a victorious lifestyle. This Inspired Conversation series is just one of the ways that I'll be doing this. If you haven't tuned into the podcast, make sure that you do. You can catch it on Anchor. You can catch it on Spotify. You can catch it anywhere you can listen to a podcast. And it's not interview style on there. We speak more about the Victory Speaks formula. And you know, the Inspired Conversation series is where I share the stories of those who inspire me and that are doing great things in our community, in our world, to make a difference, to make a positive change. And I found I have many conversations in my life. I've had good conversations, some conversations not so great, but I've always learned from everything. And why not share? Because you know what? Sharing is caring. So today, my guest is a woman that I've had numerous conversations with. She's a friend. I call her a sister friend. She's one of my iron sharpeners. And I am just so excited to have her on here. She's an award-winning leadership speaker with Christopher Leadership Lumen Association. She is a 3-time published author. Her first book was a memoir, Becoming Debra Wright. Yes, that's who she is. That's my guess. She has also published the Forgiveness Journal and is a best-selling author in the anthology Broken Trust. Debra is an entrepreneur and has successfully crafted her forgiveness life coaching business to impact lives. And she's an affiliate of Dr. Keith Johnson, 83K Academy. Now hear this. As a forgiveness life coach, she has had many situations in her life that have set her on this journey. Her passion is to help women that have gone through broken relationship by separation or divorce in order to get them to a place of freedom from resentment anger, and bitterness. Debra takes individuals on this forgiveness journey and helps them to let go so that they can live a better life. And today, we will all learn how to live a better life. She has had appearances on Afro Global Television, on Planet Africa. She's also an event planner, a mom, a grandma, a wife, a sister, a daughter, and she's a mentor. And she loves to mentor. She mentors with Emerge Inc., and she helps to give her mentees strategies in goal setting and execution. Now, let's give it up. Give your thumb rolls, give your hearts, give your high fives for Debra Wright. Debra, welcome to the show. I'm going to bring you up. I got to give you a little round of applause, Debra. Woo! Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for having me on and for that awesome introduction.
That's my team. That's my team. You don't see them in the background, but it's COVID, so they have to be low key, but they're cheering you on. Thank
Thank you,
for making
girl.
the time today, Debbie.
Thank you. Do you know what? I haven't heard that name for a long time.
There's just something, just today, I just felt like there's just this youthfulness, this Debbiness in you that's just protruding.
Oh, wow.
Smile. I love the lipstick. I love the shine. I love the glam. You're looking fabulous, darling. Fabulous.
Thank you, darling. Thank you, darling.
How you
Much
been doing so
appreciated.
far?
Hey. So how are you, Nicole?
I'm good. I'm good. I could say I will admit it's been a kind of a slow-paced day. Had a lot to do, but the energy level was a little low today. But I was looking forward. I was looking forward to this conversation because I know it's going to benefit not just myself, but it's going to benefit anybody who listens live and on the replay. So I'm just glad that we're doing this.
Same here.
And congratulations on your book and launching your coaching practice officially and getting out there and changing and effective lives. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a journey, but it's been great, actually. And I'm excited myself, getting the forgiveness journal was one of the last things that I did. And that was so exciting to have it out there.
But it's been great.
So I'm really grateful.
That was just a little beautiful echo from my phone. Sorry about that. There's a little echo from my. So tell me, Debra, tell me, what was growing up like for you? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm an island girl.
Trinity to the bone. Go ahead.
Yeah, Trinity to the bone, girl. Yeah, I'm an island girl. I still love my country. I love, the beaches. I love the people, the food, everything you can think about Trini. I love my Trinidad island and Tobago too. Oh, don't forget Tobago.
Yeah,
that's my love.
You're going to get in trouble.
I know. But the thing is, I absolutely love Tobago. Going to Tobago, I had the opportunity to spend a few weeks in Tobago. And it was just so amazing, staying at the beaches. I've got so many pictures of the sunsets. You ever took a picture at Pigeon Point?
Girl, I took one there a couple years ago. Oh my God.
Oh,
it is breathtaking.
It is. And and also at just standing even in the water. I took it standing in the water and took the picture, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can stay here forever. That's one of my my highlights of being in the Caribbean.
I like Anita. Anita has jumped in here, and Anita has said, "Nice food."
Oh gosh, girl. You
see how this conversation could take on a whole different
thing? I
know. Because both of us are foodies. So
yes, love my food.
it will take on a definitely different turn when we are talking about Tobago and Trinidad, and you have to have your. When I went to Tobago the last time, I had I said to my mom, "Listen, I don't care about all just get me some. I need some crab and dumpling."
Oh, I was
listen. And I sat down, and I'm not ashamed to say that I sat and I ate my crab because nobody else was feeling for it, and I was like quite fine with that. Y'all could eat whatever y'all want.
Exactly.
And I sat there, and I even took pictures of my food, so it was really good. I know, and Tobago is such a beautiful place because many people don't realize about the Nyland Pool and the Bucco Reef and going out there. And we have some hidden gems in Tobago. So anybody listening, Trinidad and Tobago Tourist Board listening, we
You're
Don't work
popping
for
them
you
up.
yet, but you could surely endorse us. Okay, right. Go ahead.
Exactly. I hear what you're saying, girl. I enjoyed, my husband is from Jamaica, so I had the opportunity to take
Oh,
him to Trinidad, take him and his sister and my brother-in-law, and we had the opportunity to go to Nyland Pool, and
oh,
we drove around the island, and just as the sights there, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so breathtaking, and they couldn't believe that we were in the middle of the ocean, and we were out and having a good time. Yes, it was fun.
The island music, and people come out there with their boats and the music. It is a different experience. It's
Hmm.
truly an experience. So you grew up in Trinidad,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then what made you come here? When did you come here?
I came here when I was 19. I used to think it was 18, but I,
You
I
must
had
have
to go
come here
back.
at the same time.
Yeah, I came here when I was 19.
I did the same thing too. I need to
Really?
stop mirroring me. Stop it.
You stop.
Okay, right.
I'm
Go
older
ahead.
than you, so behave.
Okay.
No, I did. My parents, they sent me to Canada. There's a
Mm,
backstory there, but I wouldn't tell you today. But my parents sent me to Canada.
right.
Yeah, well, I don't even mind. When you're young and you get into wrong company, but it wasn't like
Mhm.
wrong company going bad places.
Right.
Um, there was a guy. Let's just put
Yes,
it that way. There was
I
a
understand.
guy, and you know how our parents are back in the
Yes,
Caribbean.
yes,
Says, "Oh,
yes.
you trying to give me trouble? No, I'm gonna ship you away," and that's what they did. That's why I came to Canada, girl.
I love
But
it.
it's I've lived here way longer than I've lived in my country,
Mm, me too.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different experience, but it's one I cherish as well. I still, like I said, I still love my country, but coming here um changed, I guess, the outlook
Mhm.
of my life, I guess, in the things that I do, in the way that I operate. So it's a good life, but sometimes I wonder what it would be like having lived there. But you know what? It's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good.
But you
God
never
knows.
know. After this pandemic, we might all want to go back home and and stay in the warmth a little bit. I don't know.
I don't
But
know. I don't know,
six
Nicole.
months, no 6 months. Okay, Jay. Okay, I just gotta put up Jay's reaction to that fire. I cannot even share that one. Jay just said fire. So
Okay.
coming
Can
here,
I give him a shout out, Nicole? Can I give Jay a shout out?
you can give whoever you need to give a shout out. This is
Well,
our conversation.
so Anita is my sister-in-law and Jay's my brother. And today he is celebrating his birthday. So I just want to shout out to him. Happy birthday, Jay.
Oh well, wait. We're gonna do one better. Wait, let me see if I could spell today. In Trinidad, I might be able to spell, but spelling and typing
Oh boy.
is a heck of a thing, I tell you. But we will see.
There we go. Thank you.
Now the happy should be with a capital H, but
That's all right. That's
sorry,
all
Jay.
right.
I'm,
That's
I'm
all
wishing
right.
you a victorious new year and that you're going to achieve everything that you set out to in this year ahead for you. So,
Amen.
what was growing up like here in Canada? Because, at 19, you're still young, you're a teenager, and he says, thank you. Um, how did that feel for you?
Um, at first it was a little hard because remember I had just moved away from everything that I had known. I came here to my grandparents. My grandparents were alive at the time,
Mhm.
and so it was different. But I actually cherish the the I cherish being able to come to my grandparents. It was actually a great time for me. I enjoyed um, being here with them, and it was just a different lifestyle, but I actually really enjoyed being here with them and
And
learning the culture. Totally different.
grandparents are unique. They're
Yes.
very special. What were some
Eh,
of the life lessons that your grandparents taught you?
my grandparents, oh man, they one of the things they allowed me was freedom
Mm,
because I grew up in a strict home, very strict Christian home. That my parents, they They were strong Christians. My dad was a minister. So, you know, as a preacher's child,
You're
there is
PK.
so
You're
much
PK.
expectations.
Yeah.
Yes, and so much weight because everybody is watching you. So when I came here, funny enough, my granddad was a pastor too, but you know, I was his grandchild.
Oh.
So there's a difference, right? And then when I left Trinidad, I came here, my whole attitude changed. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't wanting to fight. I was just one of these people that I was just mellow because I just wanted, you know, sometimes you just want to know that you have freedom so that you can make the choice to do
Mm-hmm.
certain things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when I came here, I had the choice if I wanted to go out, if I wanted to do different things, I could. But
Right.
strangely enough, Nicole, I never took that opportunity. I was
Mm.
home. So I remember my grandmother saying to my mom one time, says, "You guys have been lying on my grandchild because she, that's what she said. She said, because she's here and she's always home. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed home. I went to school. I came home. I was in the house. I've never been to Carabana. And I know people that are looking, they would probably say, what? I've never been to Carabana.
Wait. Stop.
I've never been.
Period.
Period. Not even in Trinidad. I've never been. My dad was a
Wow.
minister, okay? Never been. And I had the opportunity to go here. The first year I came, Nicole, I had the opportunity, but I never took it because it was not part of me. So
Right.
my aunts, everybody, they had younger children. I babysat for that day. I did.
I hope you made some money.
My grandparents took me out for dinner. I wasn't thinking money at the time because you know what? They all helped me out
Right.
while I was, you know, when I came here, who would take care of my health care, who would take care of my some of my fees and my living
Right.
expenses. So to me, that was good enough for me. I was just happy being home with the kids. It was fun. I was okay. It was
So,
cool.
so you love children. I can tell you love children.
I love kids. I do. I love
I know that
children.
when I hear you talk about your grandchildren, you're like a kid in a candy store. Look at your face. Look, you just light up.
Yes.
You just lit up.
Oh,
Totally.
oh, Nicole, it's such a joy, you know. For part of being married, I was having trouble not conceiving, but I
Mm-hmm.
was having trouble carrying my children.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when my kids came, they were like my pride and joy because it took me so long to have children,
Mm-hmm.
so that when they came, it was just like I just held them really tightly. I still do actually, because you know sometimes they'd be like, "Mom, what's
Yep.
wrong with you?" You know, because when I see them, I feel such a joy in my heart to just be around them. And then you know when the grandchildren started coming, it was just amazing. It was like I got Roman. Roman came at a time, that's my first grand. He came at a time when I was going through, you know, one of the tough seasons in my life where it was, um, you know, I needed something to hold me up at the
Yes.
time, you
Yes.
know. So yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later. But yeah, he came at that right time, and now I have three of them, and I'm loving them. You know, two girls, one boy, and they're just adorable grandchildren. So yeah.
So let's get into your journey now. So now you're this forgiveness life coach.
Mhm.
Forgiveness coach. That is it's such an interesting until you had that title,
Mhm.
I had no clue. Um um hold on a second. I'm just seeing some weird stuff happening on the comments, but
Yeah,
I'm
same
gonna
here.
have to shut
Yeah,
that down in a bit. Um Okay, so we're going to ignore what's happening on those comments, and we'll get rid of those comments.
sure.
Um, see, we're talking about forgiveness. Didn't I tell you we're talking about forgiveness?
Yep, yep,
And it's such an important piece that
yes.
there will be
They,
distractions, and we will not be distracted
we
today.
will not be distracted. We
So
will continue going.
what turned you into becoming this forgiveness life coach? Tell us about this journey.
So this journey for me, you know, actually, when I think about it, I was talking to a coach the other day, and I was talking about, you know, what started me on this journey. And when I was growing up in primary school, um, I was bullied. I was bullied as a child, And one of the things that I was bullied for was my lips because I had thick lips, you
Mm,
know, and I was teased. I was, oh, mercilessly, I was called all kinds of names, Nicole. You know how kids can be
yes.
really mean, right? So I had to deal with that. And then, other things because, when we grew up, we were in a strict family home, and a lot of people were just they would like pounce on us. The
Hmm.
kids, you're
Hmm.
walking home from school, you get into fight and and all this sort of stuff. And so during those times, I mean, you don't know what's happening, and people are picking at you, they're fighting with you and everything. And I wasn't a fighter, I really wasn't a
Hmm.
fighter at the time. And so it started from in primary school, and then when I got to high school, I remember I was in grade, not grade. I was in form two. I think it was form two.
Hmm.
And there was this one girl. She would just pick on me, and she wants to fight with me. And then one day I said, "Oh, really?" And it rained, okay? And my goodness, we fought, and I just punched. We were like two wild people in the mud, and the funny thing is, girl, my dad passed by in a taxi and saw me. He didn't say anything. He didn't come out or anything. But when I got home, he had told my mom that I saw your daughter misbehaving. So it
Hmm.
was funny. But after that, that girl, I forgave her for everything that was happening. And we have been friends, Nicole. I was back in Trinidad, and we had the opportunity of just sitting and talking. And she said to me, she said, "Deb, I'm so ashamed of myself." But she said, "But I can't even remember that we had ever fought." But I remembered because it was something that was done to
Hmm.
me. And then as I kept on growing, a couple of other things happened. People would be mean, and then I got married. And
Hmm.
you know, it was a tumult. There were great times, there were tough times, but during that time, I found myself so like pushed down, I guess, that you don't know who you are, and
Right.
you have to be able to um I guess it's just a journey of trying to figure out where you are, who you are, where you're going. So
Hmm.
when, at the end of 25 years, my husband and I split up.
Wait. So you were married for 25 years?
I was married for 25 years.
Wow,
Yes,
Deborah.
yes. And at the end of that, I mean, for some reason, we just couldn't make it work.
Right.
No. And at the end of that, I mean, even though I knew that there were issues during the time that we were married, like I said, you have good days, you have
Yeah.
good years, you have good
Yeah.
months, but there was something that we just couldn't make work. As a couple, as a family, we had the children. There was so much stress that I got sick. I became hypertensive. I had been diagnosed with diabetes, just, depression and all these different things that I had to go through. And I didn't realize at the time that some of the things that were happening to me was because there were things that was done that I
Mm,
wasn't able to forgive.
right.
So I was holding all that into myself. And so it was making me sick. So
You were
at the
getting
end,
physically sick.
physically sick, yes.
Right.
So at the end of the marriage, I remember, like leaving our home and
Hmm.
selling the house, and having to relocate with the kids, and that was heartbreaking for me because doesn't matter what you're experiencing
Hmm.
when you're when a relationship breaks down, you feel like, okay, what could I have done better?
Yeah.
You feel bad, right? And so I remember, when I look, sometimes, I would pass by the house because I love that house. It
Mhm.
was it was a place that we had loved as a family. And I think about that, and I was like, I lost everything, and you know and so during that time, I remember, you know, we were just having like difficult times, like you talk and it's like it's still like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. You did
Nobody's
this, you
hearing
did
each other. Nobody's hearing. Yep.
nobody's hearing, and you are the one, and you're just feeling it's like the weight of the world is on my shoulder. And I remember we were going to church in a place in the Scarborough, and people would ask my mom, like, what's wrong with Sister Deb? Why does she look
Mm.
so sad? Because I didn't smile. Like, I look great now. I didn't smile much.
You lost the joy.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
lost my joy. I lost myself,
Yeah.
and I remember after a while, I was here and in Canada, and I said, I just couldn't deal with everything. So I packed up the apartment that we'd rented, and I said, you know what? I told my children, two of the older ones, I said, I'm going to go to Trinidad because I just need to get away.
Mm.
And so when I went away, when I went to Trinidad, Nicole, if you know me, I have never lived alone by myself, ever. I
Wow.
live with my parents. I have 6 siblings. My parents, and then at one time, my grandmother lived with us, my cousin lived with us, so our house was always full. I came to Canada, I lived with my grandparents, and my 4 aunts were in the house, and then they had children. Never lived alone. I got married right out from, I went back to Trinidad just for the wedding in my parents' home. Married 25 years, lived in a house, my children, never lived alone. And here I am. I think I was 45.
Wow.
45 years old, never ever lived alone. I was the mom that, if my husband was away, I would call one of the kids to come sleep with me. Say, come sleep with mama, just come
Yeah.
stay in the bed with me. And sometimes they'd be like, Mom, stop.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
daughter's like, no, I'm not sleeping with you, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like,
Because
so
you've
I was
always
that
been around
person.
people. You've
Always been
always
around
been around
people.
people. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a people person.
Yeah.
My whole entire life has been around people, family, So I left and I went to Trinidad. So the first few months I stayed with my aunt and my cousin, and I didn't have as much time to de-stress what was really bothering me.
Mhm.
But um, in December of 2015, I think it was, I found an apartment in Trinidad. I made sure that it was a place that was safe. So I got a gated apartment, kind of like a condo here, got a gated apartment, and I lived there by myself. And I would not allow anyone to come into my space. My aunt came a couple of times because that's who I had lived with before. But everybody else, I sort of shut everybody else out, Nicole. It was a time of introspection for me.
Mm.
And those were the days that I would cry. I can stay, like, I can sit by myself. I started writing. That's where my writing started. I
Right.
started writing, Nicole, because what I was doing was I was emptying out everything that was
It's
inside of
inside of you. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
The
and
purging.
yes, I was purging. I was saying, God, bring back some of the memories that I
Mm.
needed to take care of. And funny, the first memory that came back was people telling me stuff about my lips. I didn't realize how that had affected me. Listen, Nicole, I wanted to have plastic surgery so I
Wow.
could thin my lips out so it would look better. It's no joke.
And now people are paying thousands of dollars for your little girl.
Listen, and this is like, I'm telling you, it's only later on in life I
Yeah.
realized that I had something that people wanted, you know?
Listen now.
Yes, so I started going back and I went back through that and one by one, the things that were inside of me that was hurting me all these
Mhm.
years that I bought inside of my body, because
Mhm.
remember, I started to get sick. I was so fat at one time. I put on so much weight.
The emotional eating.
Emotional eating, and I didn't realize that's what I
Mhm.
was doing. I wouldn't pig out, but I would
Yeah.
eat, and I would eat a lot. And
The source of,
so
but it's a source of comfort, and we don't realize
yes,
how easy it is. Especially, listen, COVID is a reminder to us how much, and I know for myself, I am guilty as charged.
yes, same
It's
here.
so easy. It's a telltale, like sign number one, people, whoever's listening here live on the replay. One of the good signs is when your eating becomes not out of hunger, but comes out of a distraction.
Mhm.
Yeah, or comfort. Go ahead. I disturbed you. was
It's
going to be.
okay. It's okay.
Okay, so
We're
Trinidad.
conversing.
So we're in Trinidad. You're
Yes.
45.
Yes, ma'am.
You went to a place that you left when you were 19, and
Yes.
you are now here after a 25-year marriage,
Yes.
and you are reflecting. All right, now be back.
So, yes. So I remember, I remember this one night. I sat because I was fortunate. I got a 2-bedroom condo, well, apartment, but it was more like a condo. It was
Yeah,
furnished and everything. And my aunt was supposed to come stay with me. She was supposed to come stay because she didn't like the cold. And so she was supposed to come down, live with me. And she didn't come yet. And I kept saying, when are you coming? But you see, I didn't realize that God had a plan for me
hmm,
during that time. That's one of
right.
the things that I realized after. So I'm there one night and I'm writing and I'm crying, but I'm writing out, my first thought was to write about how to navigate separation and divorce. So I started writing like that, but then after that, I realized that God was trying to just purge me of the
Mm-hmm.
things so that I could stand up and be on a better footing with myself, getting to know who I was. Because during that time, I lost myself. Who was Deborah? I didn't know who I was. My voice, I didn't have a voice. I pulled into myself so many times. I didn't know like where I was going. What did I want to do? I had no idea. I knew that I loved business, but really and truly, was I good at it?
Hmm. Hmm.
I felt like I wasn't good at it because I was told I would never be good in business, right? So try thinking about all of that. All these things I had to now take out of my heart, take out of my mind, And so I sat down and I was writing one day and, with the tears streaming down my face, I said, God, I need to forgive, those things that happened to me. I needed to be able to move on in life.
Hmm.
And so I remember thinking one day, what did I do so wrong that I was not lovable? That
Hmm.
you couldn't love me the way I'm supposed to be loved? What was it that I did that was so
Hmm.
bad that, you wouldn't talk to me, you would, act with me the way that he was at the time. And why wasn't I good enough? So it became a question of my self-worth. It became
Hmm.
it became about my self-esteem. I had no self-esteem,
Wow.
none. People would say, oh, you look beautiful, and I would feel like, really, really, you think so? I didn't know, like,
Hmm.
I couldn't even express myself the way I normally did. Because when I grew up in my home, when we were back in Trinidad, I was the life of my family. You can
Wow.
ask my mom, my dad
Yeah.
is passed
Yeah.
now, but you can ask them. I was the life of the house. I was Miss Chatterbox. Listen, I would talk and
But you're
I was,
back. You're back.
yes, yes. And, girl, and I
You're
would have
back.
parties. I would have the parties. I was the one that, when my parents' anniversary came, I would have I would have the party for them, my aunts and my cousins and everybody. I was the one that did that.
Maria
You know,
said so true.
that's my mom. I was
That's
the one
mom.
that that's my mom.
Hi,
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, I was the life of the party. So when I left Trinidad, they felt like there was a death in the house because the life had left, right? And then years later, to see the person that I was become so diminished. I know my parents were hurt and
Hmm.
they were thinking like, what's happening with my daughter? Because here was this vibrant young woman. What happened to her?
Hmm.
But anyhow, I just kept on plugging away and Nicole, I had one person come to my apartment and it's because I was working and they brought me home because we worked a little bit late
Yeah.
and I didn't really feel comfortable traveling by myself, in the night. In the daytime I was fine,
Yeah.
but in the
Yeah.
nighttime I didn't like it. So they drove me home, we bought dinner and I said, okay, well, you guys can come up. You can come up and have dinner with me. And they were probably um, the first people outside of my aunt that came to my home. Because if for some reason I protected my space. it was like this space was so hallowed to me. It's like I didn't want anyone coming in to to disturb my peace.
Well, that
I
would make sense. It would so make sense, especially when you talk about the journey that you were on,
yeah.
and now you're home and you're just recalibrating yourself. And so you're recalibrating yourself, and your that place really becomes very sacred. It
Yes.
becomes very sacred. So you're writing this memoir, and and where did it take you? Like, because I mean, married to someone for 25 years, reconciling with that, and I'm sure there's a lot of hurt that you
Yes.
have to go through.
Yes.
What were you feeling at the time? If you were to say a couple words emotions that you were feeling at the time.
Anger.
Mm-hmm.
I was very angry. I was sad. I was hurt. I was disillusioned. Uh, Everything you can think about, that was what I felt. But I was angry. I was so angry because I felt like I gave all of me. I
Right.
gave you all of me because I got married at 21. And
Oh, wow.
so, yeah, it was 21 years old. I was a little kid, okay?
Yeah.
Playing big woman, got married.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was
I
difficult,
like that, plain big woman.
Oh, well, you know how they say back home, you're playing big
Yeah.
woman?
Yes.
You will take what big woman does get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was, it was very hard because, it's like I did, sometimes I didn't know how to feel,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually, Nicole, I remember one night it was, so I moved in there in December, the beginning of December. Christmas was the first time I spent by myself, girl. It was
Wow.
horrible. It was horrible because I miss my kids, I miss my family. Because here in Canada, my whole family with my extended family came
Yes.
together. We have a big dinner, and here I am by myself. Not good. So I vowed I would never do that again. And then I'm born in January. So New Year's Eve night, I'm home alone. Okay, I cried and I cried. I cried so much that I went to sleep. And
I don't mean to laugh, but you cry yourself to sleep. I
I cried
understand. I
myself
hear
to
you.
sleep. And so
How many
at
times have we women? I mean, I don't know about the guys, but I know a lot of women have done that. I'm guilty.
yes. Yeah. So I cried myself to sleep. And then at midnight, I didn't know because I left home at 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never been back for Christmas, never been back for New
Yeah.
Year's Eve. So all the traditions that we knew back then, it's now changed.
Yeah.
Right. So I am sleeping and I'm hearing like there's like rocks pelting on my rooftop. I'm like, I jumped up like this. I was like, what is going on?
You're
It
such a
was fireworks.
beautiful,
Fireworks.
beautiful.
Nicole, I jumped out of my sleep and I decided, okay, so once I realized what it was, I
Mm-hmm.
got up and I was able to go on my back porch and, enjoy the scenery. And, after that, I was like, it couldn't get any worse for me being alone, right? But anyhow, my birthday that year, my 46th birthday, horrible. 46 or 47 at this time.
Yeah.
Horrible. I
Yeah.
was by myself. And
Yeah.
then my father-in-law at the time, he was dying because we had just found out he had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So all those emotions
Mm-hmm.
were stuff that was just like really pressing into me. But it says that weeping may endure for a night,
But
but
joy,
joy comes in the morning.
yes.
And after
You're
those
gonna
times,
you're gonna hold that right there. But joy comes in the morning.
joy comes
In
in the
the
morning.
morning, it's the MORNING
N-I-N-G.
and the
Yes.
MOURNING.
Yes, it
Joy
does
comes in
come.
the morning.
Yes. But you got it. You
Oh
got
yeah.
that. In both instances, joy comes. Listen, I remember we went over to Tobago and I got on the beach and my cousin has a place in Tobago and so she invited us to come up and we sat there and I was on the beach and girl I was having the best time. And then I started hearing comments like, wow, you're so beautiful. Look, your smile. Everybody started commenting about my smile. And I was like, what's going on? Because I wasn't seeing the changes at the time. I
Mm.
gotta take a sip of my drink.
That's okay, because the joy was coming back, and the joy literally changes your countenance.
It does.
It does.
Because everybody was like, girl, what's going on with you? Like, I would take pictures and I would share with my family and be like, wow, you look really nice, you know? And I just started feeling like I started getting a pep in my step. So when I woke up in the morning, I did my devotions. Mind you, I slept all night with the Trinidad Christian radio on all night.
Yes,
I
yes,
just left it. That was my company. So
yeah.
when I woke up in the morning, in my spirit, I have all this music going, and I was eating good. I started to lose weight. I started to see myself emerging. Now I'm coming out from that. I'm becoming that butterfly. I'm
Hmm.
starting to see the colors on my wings, and I'm starting to move.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, okay, this feels good. But in the meantime, I was like, purging,
Hmm.
writing. Sometimes I would talk, I would speak to, a couple of people that I kept close to me. And my mom was my rock. Like, I would call my mom, and some days I would call her crying. I'd be
Mm.
like, Mom, I'm supposed to be further along. And she was like, it's okay. I spoke to my mom a lot because my mom is really good at helping us to navigate all her children. Like, we call her blessed. To be honest, we call her blessed. She would be the one that would hold us, and she and my dad, they would pray for us. They would
Mhm.
always, that's one of the things that they did. So whenever I felt really bad, some days I would just call her and I'd just be crying. And she's like, it's okay. She's like, it's okay, Deb. It's okay. You're going to make it. You're going to be fine.
Mhm.
And I really thank God for that. I thank God for having godly parents, to be able to lean on. And I
Yeah.
want to be that for my children, that,
Yes.
when they need that rock, that I'm there for them as well. Because I have a great example. Now, can you imagine coming from a family when my father passed away, they were
Mhm.
married for 53 years or
Mhm.
52 years, right? They were married for a very long time. So how do you think that feels when you are product of that environment? That was my incubator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now my children don't have that to say, well, my parents they were married, and they were married for life. That hurt me. So I'm dealing with things that had gone on, but
Right.
then I'm also dealing with the fact that my marriage was broken. My life
Right.
was done. My life was done in that sense. Not that I
Yeah.
was done with, but
Yeah.
you know, my family, and to be honest, sometimes I still feel that, like that brokenness for my family. Not necessarily my ex or anything like that. It's nothing like that. But it's like sometimes I think about my children,
Yes.
and what they've missed out on, you know?
But
And
they had 25 years.
I
They
did.
they had, they had a lot of
We had a lot,
they,
yeah,
they had a lot because so many don't have a mom
yeah.
and a dad that
Hmm.
would even be together 5 years, far less,
That's
25 years. That was,
yeah.
let's put it in perspective. That was quarter of a century.
It was.
All right.
It was.
Okay.
I think sometimes the human mind,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
still, but I mean, I'm grateful for what I went through. I am really, really grateful,
Yeah.
because having gone through that, it
Hmm.
has made me the woman I am today. I am remarried, the love of my life. He's amazing. Yes.
Hallelujah. Let's do hallelujah down right now. Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
My husband he's an amazing guy.
And I
He
see him
he
there online
really
listening in. He's quietly listening into our conversation.
quietly listen. Yes, he is. And what is really nice? He knows that even though I talk about my experience, it does in no way
Mm,
diminish our relationship, because our relationship is totally different. You know what I'm saying?
that's maturity. That's
Yes,
maturity. Come on now.
it is different. I don't have to fuss about his situation that he's had before. I mean, we're older couple, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we've been through some stuff. I don't have
Mhm.
to worry about all that. He doesn't have to worry about that, because we know at the end of the day, I got you, babe. We got each other.
You're gonna make me pull up the song. I got you,
I
babe.
got you, babe. Yeah,
I got you, babe. So,
yeah.
so you're making it through, and I love the comments that are coming in here from your mom and your family. You know what is beautiful to see? It's beautiful to see your family tuned in and supporting you. So shout out to all fam.
Yes.
Wendy Jones is commenting, another January baby, she says. All
Ooh,
of us are
yes.
January babies. We need, listen, I think we need a January birthday party. Wendy, let's plan a Zoom. Deborah, let's plan a Zoom. We need to just a
Sure.
private Zoom party
Yes.
for us January babies caught up in COVID so
I
that we can come
know.
together and have our own drinks. It won't be in a green cup. Um, and we'll have a little something, something in it. Um, so, so now we're moving forward. And so you have decided to become this forgiveness coach.
Yes.
Was that part of that journey that brought you to this? I mean, you could have chosen love, you could have chosen leadership. I mean, you've written books, but you're like forgiveness. Why is that so key for you? Why is that so important for you?
Because I had to go through the journey,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew what I went through to get there. It wasn't easy. I mean, I'm talking to you and I'm smiling, and I'm giving you just
Mm-hmm.
synopsis of what I went through, but it wasn't that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So even after I came back, I spent 14 months in Trinidad. Even after I came back, I still needed some assistance. So there was a group that at the church that I was at, and there was a lady there that she helped women, facilitate women
Mm-hmm.
that were dealing with different issues. And mine was really learning to let go and to free myself so I could now be free.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be free now.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke with her and I told her what I was experiencing, and so she had us in that group, and she would pray, we would talk, and I had to let go because, okay, during that time now, when I came back here,
Mm-hmm.
I had just met Mr. Wright, right?
Ooh, Mr.
So
Wright was right. Sorry,
he was
play on
right,
words.
girl.
Come on now, Mr. Wright was right. Come on now.
So
Are
I
you
had met
blushing,
him.
Deborah? Are you blushing?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
So I had met him. It was funny because I had met him. I came up to do an event from Trinidad. I came up and did an event, and my daughter introduced us, but just as a friend because we lived in the same neighborhood. I knew his children, but I never knew him. And
Mm.
people wouldn't believe that. We lived in the same neighborhood around the corner, but I never met the
I
gentleman.
love these stories. I love these stories.
I
I
never
feel
met.
like we're doing a romance. Forget forgiveness. Let's talk about the romance novel.
Oh
All
my
right.
goodness. No, seriously. My husband lived, like, we lived on a crescent. I lived on the inside.
Wendy's into the story right now. Wendy's like, Mr. Wright was right there. Everybody's into the
Yes, he
story.
was actually. So we lived in the crescent,
Mhm.
and I lived in the middle, and he lived at the end. But to tell you the honest truth, I knew the kids, they would come to my home. But I never went out and met the family.
Wow.
My kids knew, they went to school together with my kids. And my
Wow.
daughter, my daughter would go over there because they would sing because she sings and he plays music, and his kids are musical as well. And so when I came back, I think apparently she met him while I was in
Mhm.
Trinidad and introduced us just at the event. But I was so busy. And honestly, sweetheart, I was not interested. I had no, I did. Men right at that time was not what I was thinking about. you know, I was just thinking about, oh, I'm just going to go back to Trinidad. I'm just going to, live my life, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But the truth is, God had other plans for me, and I'm really thankful that He did. So we were, I remember it was his birthday, and so, but he was trying to get a hold of me, but he was using my Canadian number. I was in Trinidad, so he wasn't
Right.
getting a hold of me. And eventually, it was his birthday, so I messaged him online. I said, happy birthday, and I had his number, so in my phone, because you just change the chips
Yeah.
and you can just
Yeah.
use it. And then so I messaged him for his birthday, and then we started talking that night, and it was that conversation just went on and on and on, and I was like, okay, there's a little something going on here, but it was just funny. And then the next day we started talking, and then we kept on talking. I was in Trinidad still. And I tell you, I thank God for technology because I didn't have a big bill to pay. As long as I had Wi-Fi, we were good. I went to work where I was at the time. I could I didn't have any supervisor over my shoulder. I was in the lab and sitting down, I could talk all the time until a patient came in.
Yeah.
And so one Saturday we spoke the whole day. I
That's
was at work,
beautiful.
right? But, so that's what I'm saying, God brought us together in that way. So I didn't allow myself to be closed off, that I couldn't find love again. It wasn't my intention, but God allowed it in such a way. So when I came home, if I was to move forward with a relationship, I needed to be healed. I
Yes.
needed to know
Yes.
that the things that were holding me back, all the mind battles and all the feelings of unworthiness, of
Mm.
not being lovable and all those kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I had to know that I was rid of those
Right.
things. So those are some of the things that set me on this journey to forgiveness. Honestly, I didn't even realize that I was on doing forgiveness. Like I didn't realize that I was on that journey where I was talking about forgiveness. At church, they would ask me to speak, and then I would start talking about forgiveness. And I didn't realize that. I sat back and I started listening to all the talks that I did.
Mm.
And I realized that was my theme, that I always talked about forgiveness. I talk about, what Moses went through, and he still had to be able to forgive and live and move on. I talk about Joseph,
Mhm.
actually, what Joseph had to go through with his
Yes.
brothers. They
Yes.
sold him, but
Yes.
yes, he loved them, and he was the one that was able to feed them when everywhere else there was famine. And
Hmm.
all those things, it would just keep coming to me. And then somebody said to me, Deborah, do you realize that you're always talking about forgiveness? And I said, wow. And so when I decided to get into coaching, I can do, like you said, I can do business coaching, I
Hmm.
can do just plain life coaching, I can do church growth, I can do a couple of others I
You
forget
can do
right
a lot
now.
of things.
You know what I'm saying, right? But
Yeah.
I could do anything. But I felt in my heart that this is what God was saying to me, that you need to help people
Hmm.
get to a place of freedom. Unforgiveness holds you back so
Yes.
that you can't move on in life. Just think about me. If I allowed my past to hold me back, and the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, if you're dealing with unforgiveness, you're actually dealing with the past.
Right.
Understand me? You're
Yes.
dealing with the past, because it's not necessarily something that happens right now. It's
Hmm.
something that happened past. Even if somebody does you something now and you hold that, guess what? When you think about it, it's gone, it's in the past right now. Do you
Yeah.
know? So you have to come to terms with your past. And so that's when I realized that there was something. So when I decided to embark upon coaching,
Hmm.
I said, I really want to look at this forgiveness, because I know it's a journey that I had been through. So, there's a lot of things that we don't understand that's taken place within us when we hold on to unforgiveness. And I spoke about it a little bit earlier, where unforgiveness actually causes you to become ill.
Yes. Yes.
I'm talking physically sick.
Physically. Yes.
I had I got high blood pressure at a really young age. I was 33, because I was holding on to all these things
Hmm.
that was going
Hmm.
on around.
Right.
33 years old. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure. At my 40 something year old, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And I don't, it's not something that I like. It's not something that anybody wants to suffer. Anxiety and depression
Hmm.
and all these things, when you go to the root causes, a lot of it is because we have unforgiveness in our hearts. So that we really need to excavate and purge those things,
Yes.
because it's holding us back. It holds you back in jobs. It holds you back in relationships. It holds you back from yourself, from
Yes.
being
And that's
happy.
the biggest piece. It holds you back from yourself. I
Yes,
think that is so key. And when you say it holds you back from yourself, um, why is that important to break free from?
because if you are not If you can't forgive, and I'm talking about even forgiving yourself,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't forgive yourself, you are tied. You are tied, and chains are actually holding you. You can't even breathe because, okay, many people have done something wrong to somebody. They hurt somebody. They may have, stepped out on their relationship, or they may have, had an abortion that bothers you, or you may have, hurt somebody. You stole something from somebody. You've done something that you feel so bad about,
Mm-hmm.
that you can't even let it go to free yourself. You have to let go of all the issues. Do you know, when you're holding unforgiveness, or you think about the situation that caused you to be feeling this way, your heart races. You feel anxious. You feel like you're going out of your mind sometimes, but you have to free yourself. And sometimes you can forgive somebody, but you, as a person, you can't forgive yourself. You're hardest on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
How can so if somebody's watching now, and I think there's
Mhm,
two questions here. It's
mhm,
how do you forgive others, especially when you feel hurt or you feel betrayed, or you so let's see with that part first. You're feeling hurt, you feel betrayed, whether it's through a relationship, whether it's through a friendship, a sister friend, a boyfriend, a mother, a father has hurt you. And I think that's, people are dealing with so much hurt, and there's
mhm,
so much type of hurt. There's church hurt, there's
mhm,
COVID hurt, there's the hurt of people. And then there's this hurt of when loved ones are losing another loved one to suicide. There's
mm,
that other hurt because it's that process of forgiving, and then you
mhm.
think about forgiving oneself. So it's kind of like a tricky thing. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you forgive yourself first before you forgive others, or should you forgive others and forgive you? Is there a formula for this?
There isn't. There
Is there a
isn't a
way, a
formula for
rhyme,
that.
a reason? How do I forgive? Because I am ticked at a few people right now, not me.
Oh Lord. Um,
I'm working it through, girl. I'm
you're
working
working
it
it
through.
through, right? You've got to recognize first that something has occurred that is hurting you. You have to recognize that. You have, because sometimes you're feeling like so oppressed, and you're not exactly sure what has occurred.
Mhm.
So you have to come to terms with that. Something has happened that is causing me to feel this way, and you need to address it. You have to recognize
Mhm.
that this is what occurred, and you're going to try to it's either you make a decision. Am I going to hold on to what's hurting me, or am I going to let it go?
Mhm.
It's not easy to just let it go. You have to, but it's not easy doing that.
Mhm.
So simply saying that you forgive somebody, it doesn't do anything. It is a choice. It is one that you have to consciously make, that I am going to forgive them because I realize that when they come into the room, I just want to pound them down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? And that in itself is not a good thing. And plus the fact that you're stressed out, it causes you stress. Because if somebody has done you something and they come into the room, you are so angry. And what is that doing? Your blood pressure is going up, your
yeah.
heart is racing, and everything around you is just like the resentment and the anger and the pain is bothering you right now. So
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you are going to let that go.
And
Let it go.
how do you let it go? If
Okay.
you were to give like maybe three steps or three ideas on how
Okay.
to let go of that, some of that. You
Okay.
said when you went to Trinidad, some of what you did, you were
That's
like
right.
doing a detox. So what would you say for anybody on here who's just really struggling in that piece of forgiveness?
One of the things that I would say is to get a journal.
Mm-hmm.
Get a journal, and you start journaling. And everything that comes to your mind, like for me, I prayed. Whatever you want to do that will get you to that place of peace, that you can think, and it will bring things to your memory. Because I know we have a mixed audience.
Yeah.
You can do that. For me, I prayed, and I sat there on my bed, and I had some music on, and I said, God, like, just bring the things back to me that have been bothering me all this
Right.
time.
Right.
I write. So one of the things I would say to you is to bring back awareness of some of the occurrences that has caused you to get to this point.
Right.
And then you journal. Now, if it's someone, you can also choose to write a letter. You can choose
Mm,
to write a letter
right.
to the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one. Listen, you can
And you may
write.
not have to send the letter, but the thing is to
No,
write the letter. It's not
it's
about
to write.
sending the letter. It's
No,
writing the letter and
right.
getting the feelings out.
Yes, it's cathartic. You
Yes.
write, and you write what it is they did, when it happened, everything that you can remember, and you can say to them, this is how you made me feel. This
Yes.
is what you did to me, because you're not sending that letter. I mean,
Right.
some people do, but I'm not telling you to send a letter to everybody that has caused you pain.
Right.
Sometimes you don't want to dig up the worms, because one of the things that you have to understand is that forgiveness is not for the other person.
That's right.
Forgiveness is for you. It is for your peace of mind. It is for your sanity. It's for your health. It's not for the other person. And a lot of times people are afraid to forgive others because they think that they have to have a relationship with that person. That is not so.
And that right there, that is a bing bing for a lot of people,
Yes.
because this piece of, you think that if I forgive that person, it means that I have to go have a relationship with them. I have to have a conversation with them. It means that, you know, even going to tell the person I forgive you is not necessarily part of the whole forgiveness piece.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just an internal process that one has to do for oneself
Yes.
with the act of forgiveness. So we're journaling about our feelings, we're writing it down,
Yes.
and I'm
And
writing that letter to that person
yeah.
who has either hurt me in one way or the other, betrayed me. I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, rejected, whatever. And I just want to acknowledge a couple things here that people are saying. I recall a quote Wendy Jones has said here. I recall a quote: "You give life to what you give energy to," and that's so
True.
perfect.
It is absolutely true.
And Gayleen says you have to have Christ in you to have the peace in you to forgive.
Yes.
And Wendy, I know she is a January. I counsel, I say right, and I keep a journal for myself.
Release the.
Release the pain. It's real. We hurt more when we
Oh,
don't release the pain. Thank you,
when,
Wendy. See, we're all in sync here because it's so important. And so when someone we recognize when someone is not forgiving, the toxicity that can happen in their physical health, it can manifest in other ways in their behavior, it can manifest in their mental health. Um, but I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of a person saying, well, that's easy for you to say, Deborah. That's easy for you to say, Nicole. Because I'm really having a hard time. Is there anything else that you could think of that we could give that person to empower them to take that next step, to really work on forgiving that person, and most importantly, forgiving themselves? Because when you talked about your marriage, and I remember as I reflect and I think about my relationship, there's a thing when a relationship ends,
mm-hmm.
you go like, how did what did I, and you start questioning yourself.
Well, yes.
And
Yes.
when you were speaking about your children and what your parents, how long they were married versus what, that comparison that happens, and you start judging yourself. And I
Yes.
think this unforgiveness piece of self, I really believe it comes from this judging of self.
Yes.
What did you do to help yourself from like stop judging?
I began to recognize that there were lies. There were a lot of lies that I was telling myself. I was telling myself I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't a good wife. I wasn't a good mother because I was told that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I wasn't a good mother. You see, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that we acquire along the road. And one of the things we
Mm-hmm.
have to learn to do is to let go, to counter the limiting beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say to myself, oh, I can't do this, oh no, I
Mhm.
could do
Mhm.
this. I am a good wife. I
Mhm.
am a good mother. I am a good person. I'm a good business woman.
Mhm.
All these things. So what you have to do is to change the belief system that you
Mm.
have about yourself,
Yes.
the limiting beliefs. And I mean, we have limiting beliefs in so many areas of our lives. But in forgiveness is what we tell ourselves that actually is holding us in that prison of
Mhm.
unforgiveness. Because I can't do this. I can't do this. No, we got to change it to I can.
The
I
prison of
can.
unforgiveness.
Forgiveness.
That right there, Deborah. I'm sitting back, I'm sitting up. That is a nugget.
Yeah.
You need to release yourself from the prison of unforgiveness. You have put yourself in a prison when you do not forgive those that you felt hurt by, and it's learning how to live with not being offended
Yes.
and managing
Ooh,
expectations.
ooh, right there. Right there.
Because we have to remember that when we have certain expectations of others,
Hmm.
and then they disappoint us, that's
Yeah,
where the hurt comes.
it
And
does.
and we have to then check ourselves and say, what
Mhm.
was I expecting from that person?
Yes.
And did I expect something from them that they weren't even capable of giving me?
Yeah.
That's the self. That's the self work. When
That's
you
so,
have to sit back
yes.
and say Selah and go,
Yes.
Holy Moses, Batman. In your case, Wonder Woman.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't like Cat Girl or Catwoman. I'm like
Uh,
Wonder Woman. You know that. Wait a second. What
mm-hmm.
was I expecting? What was I hoping for? What were those false beliefs, those perceived ideas and notions that I had about myself?
Yeah.
And it's being self-compassionate. How have
Yes.
you shown yourself self-compassion? Because I know you had to show yourself self-compassion in order to do this forgiveness piece.
Girl, I had to start loving me.
What did that look like?
Oh,
Like, oh, you know what? Come on. Everybody says, well, love yourself, and you got to
whatever.
love yourself, and you got to love. What is, come on, let's be real. And I mean, people hear it from friends, people hear it
Mhm.
in the church, people hear it. It becomes like wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean to love yourself? How do I love myself? Even though you got beautiful lips, you're looking good, you're got here all done. But that inner peace, when you're
Yeah.
lying in that bed or you're sitting alone, how does Deborah love herself?
I just look, sometimes I just look at myself and I say, girl, you got it going on. I'm serious. Because I got to the place where I know who I am. I now know who I am. I am not just my husband's wife. I
Mm-hmm.
am not just not my children's mother. I am a person. I am authentic and uniquely me. The
Mm-hmm.
thing I now the things that I love, I know this is what will make me happy, and I do the things that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love to read, and I've always been a reader. So yes, I read. I used to play games, but I don't play games anymore. I just don't have the time for that. But there are things that I would do for myself. If I feel that I need to have some quiet time, my happy place is the water. So whether it's the beach, whether it's the lake, any body of water, I would go there and I would just take it in. I will go by myself. And for my birthday this year, it's winter time. And I said to my husband, I says, let's go down by the lake.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really want to go down by the lake. So
Good
yes,
call, Deborah. Cool.
yes, oh, I know, but it was my birthday. And I was thinking, I just wanted to go by
Mm-hmm.
the lake. He saw this beautiful sunset and he's ready to come back in the house. I said, no, let's go down to the lake because we're not far from the lake. Let's go down to the lake. And I went down to the lake and I went out. He stayed in the van, but I went out. I had my
Mm.
winter coat on. I had my camera with me, and I just took in the scenes, the serenity of the
Beautiful.
water and the sun setting on the water. And that to me, that just helped. It just helped to fill my heart with
Mm-hmm.
just that peace. my self-care, it's about me serving God. It's about me being who I am, and I'm authentic to who I am. I don't let anybody tell me who I am anymore, because that was one of the problems that I had. I
Yeah.
let people tell me who I am. So no, this is who I am. If you can't handle this me, I'm sorry, but this is me. God has made me this way. I am past my 40s, darling. So, when you get to that big 50, hello, I'm grown.
Come on
I'm
now.
grown, okay?
Come
And
on
so,
now.
yeah,
Crossing 50 was freedom. I'm
it
like,
was.
50 is the freedom train. I'm
Hmm.
like, come on the train, people. All those
It
who
is.
are dreading to come onto the 50s train,
It is.
come on to the 50.
You know who you are. You
Yeah.
know who you are now. It's like I am not worrying about what other people think of me. And Wendy, my birthday is January 2nd. She's asking, so I'm just
Yeah,
telling
she's
her.
loving it. Wendy is on a roll. Wendy has a comment here. I always wonder others' thoughts. What would be your thoughts when someone hurts you and you continue to believe that you say you forgive, but your behavior does not show it?
Hmm.
What's the first thing you will say in breaking down that wall? Ooh, that's a good
That's
one.
a good
When you're
one.
coming heavy tonight, man.
That's
That's
a big one, Wendy. That's
that's
a
a big
really big
one.
one. Yeah. What would I say to myself? Huh. It's very difficult. To be honest, Wendy, it is very difficult, but we have to get to the place where you have to know who you are.
Mhm.
You got to know who you are, not
And I
what
think you
other
have to
people think of
reconcile
you.
to it whether that person forgives you or not is it's not the
It's
relevant.
irrelevant.
And it's one of the things I think about is we're not responsible for others' behaviors.
No, we're not.
And so even when somebody tells you they forgive you and you recognize that they don't, um, it's when to me, it's when
Hmm.
I recognize that I have to be a little more compassionate towards them.
Yeah.
Because what comes to me is forgive them for they know not what they
What
do.
they do. Yes.
And
Yeah.
people base and think about people's age,
Hmm.
and it's not about age. It's not even just about there's different levels of maturity.
Yeah.
What is that maturity in the emotional growth? Because where people have been hurt in so many different ways, Deborah, as you
Mm.
know,
Oh, yeah.
that somebody could be the CEO of the biggest company in the world. But when it comes, well, listen, we have a president of the United States of America.
Let's not go. Let's not talk politics.
But yeah, you could be the biggest, and I use that. You can have the biggest entity, but if somewhere in your growth it was stunted,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
shows.
it shows up wherever that hurt and where you were stunted
Yeah.
in the behavior.
So
when
you
we
haven't really moved. You haven't really
exactly
grown. You have
exactly
not grown. You are still back there. It's like driving a car looking in the rearview mirror.
come on now.
That's what it is. That's what unforgiveness is. It's driving a car looking in the rearview mirror. Guess
And it's
what's going
supposed
to
to be going
happen?
forward, but you
You're
kind
going to
of you keep
crash.
going backwards because
Yeah.
you
You
keep
haven't let it go.
messing up the should I be hitting the brake? Should I be hitting the pedal? Should
Yeah.
I be looking backwards? Should I be it sets
Yeah.
confusion.
Exactly. It's a
And I'm
lot of
purposely
consistency.
talking over you like this right now because I never really do this with anybody because I try to be a good listener. It's because this is what happens. That you're talking and I'm talking, and it's your head going this way and your thoughts going this way, and there's just mass confusion that's happening.
Exactly. That's it right there. So you're in that state of confusion. You need clarity. That's what it is. You
Yeah.
need to have clarity. And sometimes you can't do it on your own.
Mm,
And that's one of the reasons why I got into it, because
yes.
I'm able to take you on that journey and to help to guide you where you should go. A lot
Mhm.
of times you need someone, sometimes you just need someone to listen to you,
Yes.
just to listen and give you some pointers to lead you in the right direction as to where you're going. It's forgiveness is it's a real thing in today. As like you said, we look at it even in politics and in We're not going there, but we look at it in people that we're thinking is supposed to be bigger
Mm-hmm.
than that. But the
Mm-hmm.
truth of the matter is sometimes that adult person is still that child that
Yes.
was molested at
Yes.
5 years old.
And
And you
never
see,
reconciled.
never
Yes.
reconcile to it. Another thing that you can do is also getting two chairs. So
Mm-hmm.
that person that hurt you has
Right.
gone. They may have died. You can
Mm-hmm.
never talk to them, or even that person might be somewhere where you can't reach them.
Right.
But you need to purge yourself and to let go so that you can live
Mm-hmm.
a better life. So you can get that chair and you sit down and you can get all mad. You can get
Mm-hmm.
every which way that it takes you
Mm-hmm.
to get that resentment out of your heart. And
Mm-hmm.
you tell them exactly what they did and how they affected you. And sometimes that one person is the person that has taken your life in
Yeah.
a whole different direction that you would have probably gone had that situation not happened in your life. You know, when you think about children going through molestation, you see how a lot of them turn out as
Yes.
adults. And remember, hurt
Hurt
people.
people, and they can
That's
hurt them real bad, and then they end up
yeah,
hurting themselves. It's like this
exactly.
cyclical effect.
Yes,
Hurt people, and then they end
hurt
up hurting themselves, and then they blame the other one, and then the hurt starts all over again. And then
people.
that hurt person goes and hurts another hurt person.
Yes, and it's
It's a
very
bad
cyclical.
cycle.
Yes, it's a really, it's like you're in a hamster wheel, not knowing where you're going to get off. So that's one of the things that, like I show you how you can, how you can get from being mired in that that situation of unforgiveness
Mhm.
and being able to walk step by step. And and one of the things, like we were talking a little bit earlier on, is those beliefs, the
Oh,
limiting beliefs that we tell
yes.
ourselves. That has a lot to do with how people move on in life.
Hmm.
It's what you tell yourself. What do you tell yourself? And Tyler Perry said this. He said, people, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's what you answer to,
Hmm.
right? So, I just wanted to say, you want to live a life in freedom. My motto is forgiveness is freedom. It
Hmm.
is freedom, because once you break free, Nicole, of all those chains that's pulling you back. Because if you look at it, it's like somebody is standing here, and behind them, their arms are tied back, their legs are tied back. There's a chain
Hmm.
around it, a band around their waist, and they're trying to break free, but because they're tied up, they can't move forward. But what we need to do is to be able to, like an onion, to be able to
Feel
peel
it
the
back.
layers off.
Mm.
Peel back the layers, one layer at a
And
time.
cry
And oh,
as the layers come
girl,
back, and the
yes,
water cry.
comes down. It's cleansing. It's
Hmm.
cleansing you. It's taking out the things that is inside of your heart, and it's bringing it's bringing that person that was hidden because of the weight of what you were holding on to. It's bringing that out, bringing that person out again. And it's like when you start coming out of that dark tunnel that you were in, then you start seeing the light. And do you think you want to go back where there's darkness? No. So then what you do is you start putting new thoughts into your head, new thoughts into your mind. So it's like, I don't want to go back to that place. I know I am free. I can do this. I can do that. I am this person. I am that. I am that. And as you start filling your heart and your mind with all the things, it's like they said, you are what you think. So you start thinking about the new things that you're going to pour into yourself. Start reading. A lot of people don't realize that reading is very important. Put new thoughts into your mind.
Yeah.
Whether you read a Bible or you read a book, you start filling up your thoughts, filling up your mind with positive things so that you don't get back to the place where you were. Because unforgiveness it can help you to be very depressed, and you don't want to be depressed. You don't want to stay in the bedroom. Some people, they're so hurt and hold on to so many things that they can't even leave their homes. They
Yeah.
can't go outside. They sit in dark rooms. Throw the curtains open. because now that you started to purge the stuff that's inside of you that's holding you back, now you can breathe again and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And we want to make sure that you are free from what's holding you back. I hate to see people in bondage,
Mm-hmm.
because some people, I've known people that they're so there's this one gentleman, I spoke about this the other day. He is so bounded, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Married a couple times, marriages never worked out, and all alone, you know,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have friends. And you're just there. And I was chatting with him sometime earlier this year, last year. And it's like the loneliness is so
Yes.
hard. And
And
I
that
am
is a
trying,
result of it too.
oh my goodness. And I'm trying to say, the thing is, you wouldn't let go. You are not allowing yourself to let go of the things that have hurt you, the people that have hurt you. And you know how people, when they have stuff inside, they keep talking about what
Yep.
what the hurt. And I'm saying, well, let it go. And I know it's not that easy for somebody to let go years and years and years of hurt, but you have to be willing to try.
You see, forgiveness requires humility.
It does.
Because when that unforgiveness is sitting there, there's pride, which comes
Yes.
with shame, which comes with control, which comes, and I think sometimes what people don't realize is when they don't walk in unforgiveness, like you're saying, okay, um, I'm going to control that person because I don't forgive them, and in fact, that person is controlling you when
Yes,
you don't forgive them.
exactly.
And then you're talking about this young man, and I'm thinking about how much he has put himself in a place of loneliness and a place where you know he is feeling ashamed, and all these different things is manifesting in his
Mm.
life, and inadvertently that's what happens with the unforgiveness.
Yes, it
And
does.
so, I mean, this life's work is definitely a powerful life's work, and I'm so glad that you're doing this because, as I say to you, he says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," and it's so deep. Unforgiveness is rooted in so much, and the fact that you're going to have the patience,
Yeah.
and it requires a very big act of love to be able to help people walk through this process. Um, so if someone wanted to get in touch with you, Debra, or as a life coach, and saying, I am really stuck. I'm really stuck here, or my loved one is really stuck. Um, how could they find you?
I am on a few social media platforms. You can find me on Facebook at Debra M. Wright 1. It's up on the screen right now. Or you can on Twitter, but I don't tweet very often. You'll find me on Facebook, or you can find me on Instagram at Debra M. Wright as well. So those are the ones that you can get me at. You can inbox me. I will put up some more links later on. As it comes more online, I will put a few things, because right now I'm just working with this. I wouldn't put my phone number out on social
No,
media,
no, not at all, not at
but
all.
you can get me on these platforms for now. And then I'd love to speak to any one of you, because I know that it's a journey. It's a real journey, and it's something you can't say it doesn't affect you. It affects you in so many areas of your life. So you can find me. I'd be happy to chat with you
I
and
love
help
that.
you
So
along.
before we wind down, let's get some fun things. So you talked about books, about reading books. So what are some books, fictional, non-fictional, that you would recommend? But before, as you're thinking about that, Wendy says to tell you that her birthday is January the 3rd, the day after yours.
Oh, wow. Happy
So,
belated, Wendy.
so she is totally loving that.
Oh, that's so cool.
So as you think about that, what books or authors you like, and who you like to read? Who inspires you?
Um, so Karen Kingsbury has been
Oh,
one. Oh, she's been one of.
I have a collection here if you need
Me
some more.
too. Me too. I've
Okay.
got tons. Karen Kingsbury. And Karen Kingsbury, she was one of the authors that started to speak to my spirit, even because, when I was married before, I read a lot to escape my situation. But the thing that stuck out, and I think why she is still one of my best authors today, is because of that scripture that she used all the time, Jeremiah 29:11. That scripture was what actually helped me to begin to come out. One day I said, it kept coming up, and one day I said, okay, God, I get it. I hear you now, And so that's one of the authors that I loved. The other one, what was her name? I can't remember her name, but I remember there's a few of them, but Karen Kingsbury sticks out the most. That's the one I would read. I still read her to this day. Actually, I'm listening to one of her books. I have 4 books on the go, but she was one that would keep me going. What else?
I could probably replenish your library because I probably have about 20 books here or more.
Oh, really? We'll have to talk about that offline.
We'll talk about that. Yeah. I have to purge the books because I have to. The 4 bookshelves are full.
Oh, all mine are full. I've got some in storage too. I got to get rid of.
Yeah. We can hold a book sale.
I've read a lot of authors. I've read a lot. I used to read secular romance, and then after I just thought, oh, I don't need that. Then I went over to the Christian romance, and I love them. Yeah. But I've also read, Michelle Obama. I've read Barack Obama's, all his books. I've read them. I just like to know about people, and they were interesting to me. So I've read them. I've read Dr. Keith Johnson. He has a few. He's actually my coach. So every coach needs a coach, right?
Come on now. Every psychologist needs what people don't know, therapists, all therapists are supposed to have a therapist.
They sure do. Yeah. They sure do. So that's my coach. And so I read his books, and he's very inspiring as well. He's very cool. I really like him. And then I'm listening to another one. It's talking about consistency, the art of consistency, or something like that. Just like books to increase my knowledge. And I read a lot about, I read up a lot on forgiveness, because whatever your topic is, Nicole, you need to know your topic inside and out. So I read lots of different people, even this preacher, what's her name? She's very popular. I can't remember her name right now.
Of them that's popular.
Oh, there's a few of them. I can't remember her name.
Priscilla.
Oh, I love Priscilla as well. I listen to her. So she's one of the people that I would listen to.
Yeah, and you know what? The movie that they did, why is the movie escaping me now?
The one with the where she had to forgive her husband?
Yeah.
Prayer room.
War room.
War room. Yes, I love that.
That is a show on forgiveness.
Yes, it is.
That is a show on forgiveness. Wendy's like, yes.
You read it online. I love you. Wendy.
We have some books for you. So, I have a couple more questions to end you with, because we did the forgiveness. But I know you talk about your mom. So I know your mom is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and your hubby and your family. But outside of that immediate tight family, who else inspires you?
I have a few people. So I have one of my girlfriends. Her name is Cindy. She's been around me from the time my youngest son was 1. And so she is not just a friend anymore. She's my sister friend.
Yeah.
And I got so much I can't even call. Nicole has become one of them. I have another friend named Joy. And one of my latest dearest friends is my compiler for the book that we just completed, Broken Trust. It's when she met me, she was the one that I looked to for guidance, because this was her vision and I was working with her, and then it's like the tables turned, and now she looks up to me, and I just felt so like, oh my God, it's so sweet, and she calls me every day. Like, we talk every day.
Wow.
But if she's going to make a decision that she's not sure of, she will call me. She's like, Deb, what do you think about this? And that's when you know that your genuineness, it comes out because I love people. And so
Yeah.
she's one of those people. You've become one of those people. And
Oh, thank
there's
you.
a few more people out. There's a few more.
And Wendy joined in the circle.
Yes,
Wendy's
Sister Fern, I can see that,
in the
Wendy.
circle. We're gonna
I
have,
love
we're
it.
gonna have. But
I love it.
you mentioned your book,
Yes,
the anthology, and
yes.
so it would be remiss of me. It would be really sad of me if we didn't talk about the anthology, because you're in an anthology right now,
Mm-hmm.
and you're working on a new anthology right now.
I
So all
am.
of you who are listening live and on the replay, just in case you miss who I'm talking to, I'm talking to Life Forgiveness Coach. She's a forgiveness coach.
Yes.
She's also an author. She's also an entrepreneur. And that's what she does. That's not who she is. That's what she does. And but she's working on this anthology that's supposed to come out this year. So if
Love
anybody
that.
is interested, or yeah, well, we'll say this year. We're gonna call it in
Oh, yes. It's 2021.
in
Sorry.
2021, Deborah. Come on. So
Who knows?
why don't you talk about the anthology before we head out here? I'm gonna put you full blast on screen, like right there, solo. There you
So,
go. Whoa.
Nicole just said, I've just completed an anthology that is Broken Trust. It's actually a bestseller. And my other anthology that I'm working on is called The Purpose of Your Pain, or Pursued by Purpose. I had two working titles, you know how that goes, but Pursued by Purpose. And it's what it really is about talking about what has the things that you have gone through in your life, how that has moved you into your purpose. So many of us, we have situations that we suffered through in life, and then you are able now, because of that situation, you're able to walk through that walk through that and come out on the other side, recognizing who you are and where you are going, or where you have arrived to. So it's really stories that you have healed from. You're already healed, you're over it, and now we're putting it on paper so that other people can now hear your story and become inspired by it. So it's like Nicole is doing inspired conversation. It's going to be inspiring words that people can actually read. And one of the things that I have gotten a lot from Broken Trust is that I got an email from a woman that had read my chapter. She says, I never do this, but she wrote me letting me know that my story made a difference in her life. It was what she needed right then and there. I got another email inbox message from another lady that said to me, my goodness, I really enjoyed your story. So the book is really to help inspire people, to bring them from where they to help people to come to understand that they are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically what an anthology is. It's inspired stories to help people, to empower them. So yeah, that's it. So Pursued by Purpose.
So if
That's the
you want
working
to be
title.
an author, and I think I have a lot of writers on here, you're not ready to do your whole book, or you may actually have an entire book already, because many authors get involved in anthologies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really a great way to get yourself out there, to get known, um, or even just to share your experience, and to test the waters,
The
to see
waters.
how,
Yeah.
and there are ghostwriters that can help you. So there's somebody there that can help you extrapolate your story. So sometimes you may
Mm-hmm.
not feel like you can write it all down, but you need to just start putting it on paper. And I know Deborah has a team with her that will help you get your story out there, and you'll be called an author. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? And,
exactly.
and Deborah is 3 books now, 3 books in.
Yes. And let me tell you something. When you become an author, believe it or not, you're an expert.
Yeah.
People come to you. Your status changes. Okay. When I did my first book, I just wrote the book. I wasn't thinking status or anything,
Yeah.
but I remember a mentor of mine. He said to the group that we were at, he said, you've got to treat Deborah with some respect, because she has done something that you haven't done. Not that you can't do it, but
Yeah.
it gives you a bit of it just kind of lifts you a little bit. It's not that you're showing off or anything like that, but you have just become somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's really a good thing. I would encourage anyone to write. That's one of the things I'm doing is encouraging people, whatever their story is. I like to listen to the stories, and I would say to you, write it down and start writing. If you need assistance, I'm going to be eventually I'm going to be doing a mini talk, or what do you call that thing? I forget sometimes when I'm talking, but anyways. It happens. You know what I mean, Nicole? It's like,
You know, we
what
don't want to
am I
be.
trying to
We're
say?
gonna have a conversation, an
We're gonna
information
have a
session.
conversation. Yes,
Yes.
about writing.
And
Okay.
onboarding. And
Yes.
yes. So stay tuned. And I know when Deborah has it, she's gonna tell me. And so Deborah, as you know, I just love these conversations, and I really hope everybody's being inspired by this and blessed by this. I just want to thank everybody who has been tuning in, and some, I have some of my all-time listeners here. Wendy is one of them. She's been here basically almost every show, and I'm so grateful. And so when you look at victory, and you know, this show is Victory Speaks, and my company is Victory Speaks, and it's all about victory for me and walking in victory. So if you were to hear, when you hear the word victory, what does that mean to you? Living a victorious lifestyle, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means that I have overcome some of the things that I have been dealing with. I'm now standing in my truth, and I'm victorious. I have victory because Christ gave me the victory first to begin with, and I have been able to get myself to a point where I can now feel empowered, standing in wholeness and serving my God and serving others. To me, that's what says victory. It's not about money, that although that's great, but it's about what I feel inside of me,
Mm-hmm.
and how I can stand and how I can show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's victory to me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So before we go, here comes Wendy. Nicole keeps telling me to write the book. I have no words for you, Wendy Jones. No words for you.
Out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, Wendy.
Come on now. We are standing in agreement. We are gathered here today in front of witnesses. And thy book be done. Okay.
Yes.
Thy book be done, Wendy. I'm so looking for it. And Wendy's on fire. Victory is overcoming. Victory is mine. It truly is.
It is.
And is there anything that you would like to say before we wind down today? And you know, as I thank everyone for just tuning in and listening and being with us here on the show. If you don't know who my guest is today, well, now you know a little bit more about her, Mrs. Debra Wright, and she has shared her story. And I thank you for your vulnerability. I thank you for your transparency. I thank you for just going deep and, you know, giving us a little taste of why it's important to forgive, and the joy of forgiveness, because, you know, joy comes in the morning, and in the morning, you know, and but as we start making our way out here, um, is there anything you would like to share with anyone else that's online here tonight?
I just want to say thank you, Nicole, for having me on tonight. Thank you to all the guests that have been on there. I see my friend Gayleen is on as well. And I'm just really grateful that I've been here. I want to leave this with you. Gratitude. One of the things we need to have is gratitude. Even though you're going through something really tough, that you feel like you can't overcome, gratitude is important. Thank God for your blessings, because you could have been further back, but you're moving forward. So thank God for your blessings. Thank God for the lessons that you have learned, because sometimes the things that you've suffered, they are lessons that are going to take you to your journey, take you to the next step of your journey. Sometimes they're stepping stones to greatness. Develop an understanding as to why people have hurt you. Don't dwell on the hurt. Learn to let it go. And the last thing I would leave with you tonight is that you need to forgive yourself. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does something that they're really sad that they have done. Don't hold on to it. Forgive yourself. Move on. Live in freedom and live peaceable with all men. Even if you can't, even if they've hurt you, like I said, you don't have to be friends with them anymore. But as long as you let go of all the pain, you are going to be okay. Forgiveness is freedom. Remember that. Live in freedom. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Deborah. That was so beautiful. So, so beautiful. And yes, gratitude is a must. And for everyone tuning in tonight, I am so grateful that you have tuned in. You have blessed me. We have been blessed by you. And you can listen to this conversation again if you've missed any part of it on my Facebook page, Victory Speak 77. It's going to be on the YouTube channel later this week, Victory Speaks 7. And if you have not subscribed to the Victory Speaks channel on YouTube, please do. Need some followers there. Shameless plug. You can follow me also on Victory Speaks 7 on Twitter and on Instagram. For those of you that are on who have iPhones, yes, we are on Clubhouse, and we're going to be doing some Victory Speaks rooms on Clubhouse. And sometimes with other people on panels. But we're gonna try and get our own club up there. Now remember, your victory speaks. And it's so important to live a life of victory. It doesn't mean that you have to actually be the one to cross the finish line first. Victory is not about that. It's about running the race. It's that marathon. When one person passes the baton to another, we all help each other, and together we all win the race. And I share some of the Victory Speaks formula on my podcast. You can get it on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts, on Anchor, and anywhere that you can listen to a podcast. I share the Victory Speaks formula weekly with some tips and insight. And today I encourage you to be intentional, to have an inspired conversation with someone you love, with someone you've just met. And even if it's with a smile, it just starts with a smile. Sometimes it's joy, we forget how joy changes the molecular structure of our brain. If we can wake up with joy, and if we can go to sleep with joy, find something to think on, to meditate, to sailor on when you wake up in the morning that gives you joy. And do the same thing at night. It is good for your brain. It is good for your mental health. And, when you ask someone how they're doing, stop, listen, really listen to what they're saying and what they're not saying. We need to take our conversations back. We need to start really speaking to each other and listening to the said and the unsaid. We need to start walking more in love, more in peace. And today's Martin Luther King's Day. And it's a day with so many mixed feelings. And I watched, Bernice King, Dr. Bernice King. She's been speaking so much today online. And many people are quoting Dr. King and sharing his quotes and speaking his words and sharing his dreams. But we remember a time when Dr. King wasn't loved at all. But what he stayed through to was his vision, what he believed he was called to. And sometimes we keep thinking that we just have this one purpose, but purpose is what happens on the way to destiny. So may this new year for you, may you walk in your victory, where you remember the victory moments, the days, the weeks, the minutes, the seconds, the months. And then when you all put it together, it will add up into a victorious new year. This year, as we work towards the fulfillment of our own personal goals, let us remember to lift each other up, to support one another, to sharpen each other. We are iron sharpening iron. In this new year, let us be intentional to be kinder and truly loving to each other this year as we walk in the fulfillment of our destinies. We do not know how much time we have left on this earth, but let every day count. If you want to be a part of the Inspired Conversation series, we have a lot coming up for you this year. We're going to have some new things, some fun things. We're going to speak to some trailblazers in our community, speaking to them in time, in the now, not when they have left us in the earth. Those icons in our community. And, as a Trinidadian, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get Trini with it. There's a Trini series coming up, and Wendy Jones, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for people like you who speak about Trinidad and Tobago with love. And we're going to be showcasing entrepreneurs throughout the year, because we need to really help the small businesses and the small entrepreneurs, whether it's in products, whether it is doing their events, whether it is musicians and artists. And there is going to be a series just for artists where I'll be showcasing artists this year. So there's lots in store coming up. If you want to support us, let me know in any which way you can. We have collaboration opportunities. And let's walk in gratefulness. Be forever grateful for your life today, for the life of your loved ones. Thank you for tuning in. I am going to sound out now with Calabash. I just want to thank my guests again, Debra Wright, for tuning in, for being here with me, for making time in her day, and for all of those of you who tuned in. Remember, your victory speaks. Thank you. Stay blessed, stay well, and walk in your victory.